Right, today is a recipe day. I made a little impulse purchase recently. Lemons. I never buy fresh lemons, but these were obviously on a yellow sticker. They were £1.14 and now they are 46p. This was definitely an impulse buy. And then I have to decide what I'm going to do with them. Now, I could just make a lot of gin and tonics, and that really was my first plan. My second plan was to bottle or freeze them for another time, but I did have a look to see what I could make. My first idea was lemon meringue pie. However, that is not a budget meal, because lemon meringue pie from scratch requires 3 or 4 of those, and I do not have the budget for 3 or 4 of those at the moment. Eggs, I used to be able to get loads of eggs on discounts. You know, you couldn't buy enough of them at certain times of the week sometimes, or certain times of the month. Now you don't even see eggs on the regular shelf. My local Morrison's, the shelf is nearly always empty, and that's the full price ones, so none of those are going to gravitate onto the cheap shelves. So I'm still using eggs that I bought quite a while ago, but I find that my eggs will last a very long time in the fridge, and I've not had any problems yet. So I did some more research and found a homemade cheap budget recipe for lemon curd. What I especially like about this recipe, apart from the very minimal ingredients, and in fact I could have made this without actually buying lemons, I've now discovered, it will keep for a week or two in the fridge, but you can also freeze it, and from frozen it's still spreadable. And in fact, the recipe that I'm using, she says you can eat it like a sorbet. So I'm really looking forward to giving this a go. So I only need 4 ingredients. They are all things that I have, and this is why I said I needn't have bought the actual lemons, because it turns out I can just use lemon juice, and I've always got lemon juice in stock because I make jam and I bottle fruit. And a little bit of lemon juice is often necessary in those recipes. Excuse me. And I bought a big bottle of lemon juice last year because it was a quid. Look at the size of that. That's going to take me years to use that. But if this recipe works, I can now have an almost unlimited supply of lemon curd, which I love, depending on the egg situation. I literally have 8 eggs left in the fridge, so I'm trying not to do any baking that uses more than an egg. I'm trying to do all my dessert recipes that don't use it, which is fine because that's what you have to do, and just keep an eye on the egg situation. I think it's here to stay for a while. I think the problem is more that supermarkets are... The suggestion that I saw on Instagram from a farmer who has an Instagram account was that the supermarkets are holding back supplies a little because it's elevating prices and the prices are not being passed on to the farmers. But whatever. I'm not paying the massively inflated prices that they are charging at the moment for eggs. I can generally manage without eggs. I don't use a huge number, and I also have quite a few eggless recipes which I got from the wartime recipe sites, because obviously eggs were on ration then, and I do some that are essentially like vegan style recipes which again cut out the eggs. So there are lots. You can make eggless pancakes, eggless cakes. There are all sorts of things you can do, so I'm not panicking too much. Okay, so stop waffling. let's look at this recipe, which I got from a website, an American website called Budget Bites. And generally, if I'm looking for a budget recipe, I will type in the recipe plus the word cheap or budget or simple into Google, and it'll always find me something. So, homemade lemon curd. Let's give this a go. I've never done this before. I read the recipe the other day, so this is me doing this for the first time, so bear with me. Ingredients. We need 1/4 cup of sugar. Well, I do have sugar available. I'm going to use my jug, which has cups on it. It's just easier, because all my cups are different sizes. I don't know how you use a cup to measure a cup, because they're all different sizes. Okay, so let's pop the sugar in there. 1 large egg. You get whatever egg size you get in my house, I'm afraid. We need a 1/3 of a cup of lemon juice. Now, this recipe says just use lemon juice out of a bottle, it's absolutely fine. But that if you do have actual lemons, to add the zest. So I'm going to add the zest because I have the lemons. I don't know how many of these lemons, there may not be enough, I might have to top it up with juice anyway. But I'm going to add some zest, and then what I will probably do is keep the rest of the rind, chop it and put it in the freezer. I've done this with orange rind, and it makes a lovely addition to a fruit cake. So, first off, let's get another little Tupperware box out, and I'm going to grate some of this lemon zest. Let's go for this side, because I think adding the zest is going to be a lovely addition. Oh, it smells so good. Fresh lemon is not something that I generally have. And in fact, growing up, I wasn't really much of a lemon fan, and I don't generally have lemon things. I have lemonade as a mixer in a G&T, of course, or in a shandy. But I generally don't eat lemony things. However, I am a sucker for a good lemon curd, so that's why I'm excited about this. Okay, this is the zest from 1 lemon, and I think that's probably all I'm going to do for this recipe, because it doesn't say how much zest to put in. The bits out. We do not waste anything in this house. Okay, so that's the zest from 1 lemon. I think that'll do. So now my lemon looks a bit squishy. Okay. So now I need to extract 1/4 cup of lemon juice. This will be fun because I don't have a lemon squeezer. Ooh, what are we going to do here then? Hang on, let me just have a look. I am pretty sure I do not own a lemon squeezer, because that just seems like a crazy addition to a kitchen like mine. Okay, so let's attempt to do this without making a complete dog's dinner of it. Let's make some space here, because I can't stand a cluttered kitchen. So, okay, right. Let's go with the lemon that we've already zested. And I think it's literally going to be a case of squeezing it in and then fishing out the seeds. 1/4 cup seems like an enormous amount of lemon when you don't have many lemons. Thankfully, I think that just topping it up with juice will do the job. And I'm not going to waste any of this. I mean, look at all that lovely flesh. Why would you waste that? I am going to freeze this. I am going to freeze what's left over because I can't bear the thought of throwing any of this away. And then I can make like a lemon cake. Sounds like a plan to me. Right. Okay. This is going to take a while, so I might have to put you on fast forward. Okay, so it looks like 3 lemons gives me half a cup. I need 1/3 of a cup. I think I need to top it up a little bit. I've got some lemon juice left over which I need to use up, so I'm just going to give it a little top up with that rather than cutting into whole of my last lemon, which I might only need half of. And then I'm going to put aside the remains of my lemons, which I will chop and put into the freezer. At some point I will make a lemon cake. Okay. Lemon is so good. Oh, sharp. Now we need 4 tablespoons of butter. Okay, so we have our egg, we have our lemon juice, and we have our sugar. So that's that bit ready to go. So what I need now is a small sauce pot. I don't know what a sauce pot is in the USA. I am using a small saucepan because that's what I've got. We improvise here, nobody minds. So what I need to do is add the sugar, the egg, lemon in my hair as well. Add the sugar, the egg and the lemon juice to a small sauce pot. Before placing the pot over the heat, whisk the ingredients together until smooth. I do own a whisk. Do you like my little whisk? So cute. That was a gift. Okay, so we need to get these 3 things into the sauce pot and we need to whisk. So, let's go for it. 1 egg. Ugh. Do you know what? Today I am so accident prone. I couldn't even get an egg in there without... Ah, dear, what a day. Right, 1 egg. Let's throw in the sugar. Goes the sugar and the lemon juice, and then we are going to whisk. Whisk until smooth. This could take a while. Lovely. I don't know what it means by whisked together until smooth. I mean, it's whisked together. I think that'll probably do. It looks kind of whisked and it's mixed. Now we have to place the pot over a medium heat and cook whilst whisking continuously. The mixture will become very frothy, as you whisk. When the liquid becomes hot enough to cook the egg, the mixture will begin to thicken and no more liquid will separate from the foam. It takes about 5 minutes over a medium heat. Okay, so let's get started on that then. Even the small ring on my gas hob is quite volatile, so I'm going to keep this pretty low. This could also take a while. Okay, I think that's done. I don't see any more separation. Now what I need to do is add 1 tablespoon of butter at a time, whisking until fully melted into the sauce before adding the next. As the butter is melted into the sauce, it will become less frothy and more silky in texture and look glossy rather than foamy. And that's basically it. Okay, so I don't have butter, not surprisingly. I'm throwing in what I have, which is margarine. Tablespoon, right, 4 of these, one at a time. Okay, so we're going to be quite generous with this because I am very slapdash with my ingredients. So that's number 1. Oops, daisy, I'm making a right dog's dinner here. I'm not sure the consistency will be quite right because I'm using margarine and it's cheap baking margarine at that. But I always use it even when recipes say butter because butter is just too darn expensive. And frankly, I'm grateful for anything I can get my hands on these days. So we're working with what we've got because this is all about budgets. That's the entire point of this. Right, I think that is all mixed. Let's rescue the bits of zest. So this is what we now have, which looks like it could be lemon curd. Now there are all sorts of variables with this. I've used cheap ingredients, I've cut corners, I don't have actual butter. What I'm going to do is transfer it into a container. I've slopped that everywhere as well. I'm so accident prone today, this is not a day for cooking. had I dropped? Ooh. That tastes like high-end lemon curd. That's not your Savour brand. If that hardens to the consistency it's supposed to be, that's going to be fantastic. I'm going to leave that to cool now. There's quite a lot in there. There's a small luxury jar's worth in there. Now I'm going to tidy the kitchen and we'll come back later to see if that has hardened into a lemon curd consistency and what it tastes like. Catch you in a bit. Okay, it's time for the big reveal. Here it is. Now it's not as yellow as you would expect from many of the curds that you get in the shops. I suspect that's purely because they probably add colourings and all sorts of things to make it look nicer. It's got the right consistency for a spread, and I would imagine if you froze this you could probably spread it straight on as well, and it would be just as good. The taste is phenomenal. If you like citrusy things and if you like lemons, this is top notch. It's got such a kick to it. Now that may be because I've used fresh lemon, it may be because I've got the added zest in it. But the great thing about this recipe, apart from the fact that it's just so quick and easy to do, is that you can do it from ingredients that you have in the kitchen anyway. If you're a scratch cook like me, then the 4 ingredients on that list you will always have. You don't need the lemons. The lemon juice will do the job just as well, but I think this probably added an extra kick, and if you're a lemon fan you will adore this. I am thinking about other recipes that I can use this with now. I think this will be amazing in a lemon tart, or with some other kind of pastry as a filling. I think it's just absolutely fantastic. I am so pleased I tried this. I don't usually make things like this. I much more make a meal rather than make something fancy like this. But this is just so good. Oh my. It's really made my weekend. And knowing that I can do something like this with the cheapest version of ingredients. I mean, it's not even got butter in it, it's got margarine, it's got cheap cooking margarine in it. And it's still fantastic. It may have been a little bit more solid if I'd used the actual butter. But honestly, the consistency is fine. If you were spreading this on bread and butter, a bagel, whatever, some other kind of pastry, this is just absolutely fine. I highly recommend this. I will add a link to the notes below to the actual recipe, and have fun with it. I mean, it's the kind of recipe that you can play around with and add your own spin to it. Change the balance of the ingredients if you're not quite so happy with the citrus taste. If I wanted to dull it down a bit, I would probably just use lemon juice. I think maybe the lemons, or probably the adding of the zest, are why this has come out so zingy. But if you wanted it to be more subtle, you could up the sugar content, and that would probably bring down the citrusy flavour of it a little bit. But this is just absolutely fantastic. Give it a go if you like that sort of thing. It'll absolutely make your day.